Speaker, honorable members, first of all, I want to thank you for adjusting the order paper to allow us to make this statement regarding the incidents registered during the Kawempe North by-election campaigns. Right Honorable Speaker and members, a number of incidents. This paper has been uploaded because we didn't know it would be allowed on the order paper. It was uploaded late, but I think members should be having it now. A number of incidents have been registered in the course of the ongoing Kawempe North by-election related activities. And these involve, among others, skirmishes between NUP supporters and security forces, as a result of which 24 people are arrested and put in custody. And those arrested include 2 honorable members of this House, namely Honorable Nyeko and Hon Nkunyinji. The details of the particulars of those in custody are attached to this brief. The action taken so far: a case file was opened via Duandega SDA Ref 63/33/2025. Statements recorded from all those in custody to enable the processing of their cases for court. Those arrested were presented in court and remanded on Tuesday, 4th March 2025. Right Honorable Speaker and members, government intends to ensure a clean, transparent, and safe by-election in Kawempe North constituency. Towards this end, the various players, including the EC, who organized this by-election, the contenders from the different parties and their supporters, the general public, as well as security, have to exercise their different roles, different but complementary roles within the confines of the law. Where we have infractions of the law, there are processes within the law on how to bring them to account, including guidelines on the lawful enforcement of the law. It is also the law, Right Honorable Speaker and members, that for one to be charged with a criminal offense, that offense and the punishment thereof must be expressly provided for in written law. Those arrested are accused of various breaches of the law, including the alleged illegal use of military gear by some of them. Charges known to the law will be preferred for the courts to determine their cases. In addition, working with the military and other security organs, it will be proposed to publish for information their gazetted uniforms, as well as other gear which are ordinarily the preserve of official uniformed forces. Also, working with the EC, guidance should be given to all the players regarding lawfully permissible conduct during this exercise. Last, rules of engagement and SOPs that guide the security forces in the conduct of public order management will be disseminated to the operating forces to enhance their awareness as they go about their duties. But also, unsaid is the background to this, and I think we need to ask the hard questions. We need to have a candid, brutal conversation on this idea of what is reasonable conduct, what is permissible conduct. I think we were all treated to that video that ran wild of people in military formations, and I knew it would attract consequences, both intended and unintended. So I think going forward, we may need to engage as security and all the players on how we go forward to ensure that we have credible electoral processes. Right Honorable Speaker and members, government commits to ensure a clean and safe electoral process in support of the EC. Those arrested will be presented in court, and any excesses reported, investigated and dealt with as appropriate. The journalist whose eye was injured, called Miracle in Nsambia Hospital, gladly he's been discharged, but I've been briefed by Honorable Bahati, and I want to thank him for visiting him. We shall meet the bills of his treatment. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members.
As the Honorable Mhoz has said, and as you instructed me, I visited the journalist called Miracle, who works with Stop TV. It is true he was injured, and there was some limited operations on his face. The good thing is that his eye, according to the doctor, was saved. He's out of danger as we speak, and he has been discharged yesterday. And on behalf of government, I promise that we are going to clear the bills also had a complaint that his camera was damaged. But in the meantime, we have agreed with the Minister of Internal Affairs that the bill will be cleared by government. So I extended our sympathies, and I will continue to pray for him for quick recovery. Thank you.
I would have loved, for example, in the case of the journalist, who was not part of people who made the parade and all that. I would have been glad to see a commitment of investigating their officers coming out clearly. The way of investigating others has come out clearly. It would have been, it would give confidence to other people who might be caught up in that fracas when they are not involved.
In all this, there are always innocent bystanders. If I can, I wouldn't want to infer the guilt of the others, but certainly we shall verify, even reaching out to the journalist and find out how he was injured, who was responsible, and then we take appropriate action.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank you, government, for responding to the injured person by meeting his bill. Although you wouldn't have met it if you had not caused injury to him. And it's not enough, but there are more than one who are under the same state. Mr. Speaker, I want to inform General Moho's Minister of Internal Affairs State that yesterday, and as of now, there's a video running around. There's a Ugandan resembling one of the judge, and people were almost going to kill him, thinking that the one was beating people in Kawempe. This is a common phenomenon in Africa. Sometimes some people say I'm resembling also you yourself. And if you commit an offense, I might be the victim or you might be. But for you are lucky, you have safety with your security guards. This is the situation, Mr. Speaker, we are facing. But when we are here, the Minister for Trade, who was acting as government, leader of government business, denied knowing anybody who was beating people. The processes of bringing people to book, summoning them, is within the hands of government, not the opposition. If there's any offense committed by a national unity platform, at any cost, it's you to bring them to book. But here we are having soldiers beating civilians with no sufficient cause. There's a candidate in this race. They were saying we are going to cause some traffic jam. He's moving with a wheel loader, but for him it's safer than those walking on foot on the roads. How would we handle that? Mr. Speaker, sir, we should go, members of parliament, and I'm repeating this, because we are giving challenges to our speaker. And I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. You stated it here, that you are going to handle that matter. Members of parliament are summoned by, you summon them through the Speaker of Parliament. If I'm wearing an overall, which is red in color, but it's having national colors, what offense have I committed? I'm driving going to the rally where there is a new candidate or an NRM candidate, and you arrest members. Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs, kindly. Even NRM, actually, parades are committed everywhere. You must communicate, and always directives come out, respect them. NRM is wearing its yellow overalls, it's also berets, also because you know what is sanctioned under the Youth Act, which was brought back to Parliament as a trained soldier and a lawyer. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to come out. Why do you beat the press, the fourth arm? They are fully dressed in their attire, showing that they are working for maybe Mr. Baramuzi, Honorable Mr. Baramuzi Radio, and others.
Right, Honorable Speaker and members, when you see the events unfolding in the Kawempe North by-elections, it leaves all of us in a bad situation. Those involved in the election, and even those other citizens, particularly the responsible members of this society. Now, when the issue was put for government to come and clarify and explain, I'm surprised, deeply surprised, that the Honorable Minister has chosen to tell what everybody wishes to hear. He has told the intent of the law and the aspirations of Ugandans. But what is at stake now is that they are hoodlums. There is the JAT, which is responsible, the core mandate, to crack on terrorism. And now you have an official exercise, a campaign exercise announced, and the government chose to deploy the Joint Anti-Terrorism Force. Why? Because from the word go, we would start from there. Who deployed? Honorable Minister, you could tell the country who deployed and why. Because we should start from there. And it is not difficult to find out. Even if there was some conduct of members.
Honorable Sechkubo, that's not how we behave on the floor. Okay? You came for information, and I hope your time is up, I'm sorry. Honorable Susan Amero.
For how long are the security forces going to take the law into their hands? And they go away. They walk out free. What are they supposed to be doing? If the police is to keep order, law and order, and then the police is using the gun bat and everything, including the knife in the gun, to point at this guy who is innocent, who has not been proven to be guilty, then what are we? I think something needs to be done, because currently the situation at hand is not good. We need to protect our people, and we need to do the things according to the laws that we are making.
I stand to protest the manner in which security handles civilians in certain situations. Because I was a victim of that during elections, it doesn't matter what party you belong to, but it matters how the state security conducts themselves. I'm a mother. One time I was very pained. I almost shed tears seeing a small girl, these children of Makerere University, trying to protest, and a little girl howled behind a pickup. I wouldn't want my daughter to be treated like that. During the campaigns, it was like the state versus Ahmed. There was this colonel that was deployed in my constituency, and they were just all over intimidating people with the uniforms, telling my supporters they are going to disappear. Please, in this century, as a politicians of my generation, we want fair competition, we want accountability of security. This is not fair.
How is the situation now? Have we gotten other bad incidences? So why I'm raising this, I want us in our debate, if the situation now has calmed down, then we don't again put in fire. Honorable Chibadia.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
I've asked you, I don't know. So now, stop. You know, yeah, I've asked you in your submission, you should be the ones to tell us what's going on. I didn't tell you that the situation is like this. I asked you.
Very rightfully thinking Ugandan is asking, how did we reach here? How did we reach where we are? What has caused this, Right Honorable Speaker? Right Honorable Speaker, I remember at the beginning of this parliament, the speaker then, late Honorable Jacob Olanya, said that one day he would organize a day. We sit here and debate how we wish this country to move. Right Honorable Speaker, maybe one day you convene, either you take us in conference hall, in the compound, we debate. Right Honorable Speaker, it's ugly. Your question was, what is happening now, is it any better? Right Honorable, yesterday they were showing where a lady was seated in a vehicle. Somebody jumped on the vehicle on top and pointed a gun at the lady in the car. The lady was saying, shoot. People were surrounding the car. Right Honorable, who is in charge of campaigns in this country? Campaigns are not going to the church to begin praying. And campaigns, everybody will be chanting, people will be moving, people will be singing. Who is in charge of campaigns, Right Honorable Speaker? A campaign period, and we behave like this? Honorable Minister, we want you to restore hope in Ugandans. Restore hope in Ugandans and say maybe it is regrettable, this was uncalled for, we are investigating, we are going to do something better. But according to your statement, it's as if everything is normal and what is going on is blessed because you blame the people who were arrested. You can't even tell us those who participated in beating. You beat a younger girl. You pull a younger girl on the road. Right, Honorable Speaker, it's very regrettable.
Honourable Minister, I understand the Electoral Commission, you had a meeting with the Electoral Commission, or your security forces were. I would want to hear from you. I don't know whether it's you who attended or your people briefed you, because both sides were invited. So you don't have any information on that, on what you agreed? Okay.
The law is clear. In such an operation, honestly, it's Electoral Commission to invite police, and if they are skeletal, maybe the army to support. But what is happening is like the minister slept on duty. Because if Electoral Commission had a meeting and he was not even in the meeting and he does not know anything, what hope can he give Ugandans? Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for giving room to debate this particular issue. This morning I was on talk show. Literally, NRM, if it will ever get any votes in Kawempe, I want to tell you, skeletal, the community is bleeding. Why have we decided to militarize something which is for civilians? What is your fear? Why have we decided to make election to appear as it's war? Do we want to take this country into anarchy? We have had enough. Innocent people are being beaten. Can you imagine? Media is the fourth estate. The fourth estate has lost an eye. We can happily sit here and say the treatment will be covered. Can you imagine? Really? Do you know what pain is in a person who has lost an eye? Right Honorable Speaker, I beg you, the only hope remaining for our community, especially when it comes to Kawempe, is this house. Kindly put your feet on this matter. It must stop.
The memories of 1980s, 86 to 90, we have been victims. We have been IDPs. You go to Teso, you are terrorized by the illegal guns there, the wars there. But I'm surprised that in this day and era now, we thought we'd run to Kampala for refuge. But now the way things are being done, in broad daylight, it's not at night. Honorable colleagues, we are the voices of the people. And this, in its measure, I want to thank Right Honorable Speaker. All of us have got to stand together to condemn the actions. When the military spoke, the army, they said they don't know those people. You get it? Security agencies are disowning some of these people. By now, in a normal situation, those people should be behind bars. So I want to appeal to our forces, particularly police, Honorable Minister. The JAT are people who fall within your docket. Kindly bring them to order. We want a fair ground for all of us. We are ready to win elections clean, but not through a brutalized way.
Toma lost 3 young men who were even not part of the group Two were hawkers of nuts. They were buried in Kabila. One was from Izumo. It was during campaigns, and I was there to campaign. I was almost lynched when I mentioned the name. NRM, they almost lynched me because they were bitter with NRM by that time. So I'm requesting that we put a stop on this because we are nearing the elections. What is going to happen when everyone is campaigning and nobody is even there to stand for any? Thank you so much. We need to put a stop on this.
The rate at which journalists are being brutalized in circumstances like this is very alarming, and I'd like to say to this parliament that Miracle is not the only journalist that has been injured in situations like this. And most of the time, the government will try to compensate or to buy a camera to replace it or to pay the bills. But what are the bills? What about other journalists? Because, Right Honorable Speaker, there are many other journalists that are being brutalized, that are being injured. Some of them will never be able to work again. There's been Twa Muchibi at NBS Television. There was Yuda Musisi, formerly of BBS. There's David Dubowa of Daily Monitor. There's Ali Mivule, who is formerly of NTV. There's Ashraf Kasirie, who everyone knows very well what happened to him. There's Joshua Mujonga, and the list goes on and on. And from my understanding, I think the government takes for granted journalists because, first of all, you know that the pay for journalists is very little. So when someone is injured and then you go there and then you're buying a new camera and then you're paying the bills, you think that is enough. I don't think it is enough. And secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I heard the minister the other day saying, oh, they should be taken to court as individuals. But these people are in masks from head to toe. You cannot identify the person. So how do you go to court? How can they be accountable when you can't even identify them? It is very saddening, it is very heartbreaking, and I think the government should reflect on the things that you're doing. Even the people who didn't know about the brutality of this government are angry. Some people are not talking, but they're really boiling. And one day, Right Honorable Speaker, this whole bubble will burst.
Many times, the NRM government says that the opposition are spoiling the image of this country. And they say that we have made a very big part in scaring tourists and other people to come to this country. Yes. But Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at what is happening in our country, what happened in Kawempe, you can say that actually the police or this government is its own opposition of its image. It attracts the world to see whatever is happening here. Right Honorable Speaker, I was a victim on Monday. What happened in Kawempe? The judge people wanted to kick my private parts. It's only that I had the background of the ghetto in Ibuayise. If I didn't have tactics, it would be another story as it is now. When you look at the clothes I used that day and you look at them, you can't believe that it's a member of parliament that was harassed the way it was. The ladies were in a court on Tuesday with Honorable Sambo Shabe. When you look at the way the ladies were beaten, others lost their backs. Yes, they did. Others, when you look at their faces, they were brutally brutalized. Why are we doing this? The kidnaps going on as we speak now, Right Honorable Speaker. An American citizen called Charles Bukenya Mubawala, the Vice President for UNA, was kidnapped on Tuesday night in Nakulabi. We don't know where he is. This country is experiencing many people leaving to go and seek asylum in other countries because of the way the security agencies are handling. We ask who is ordering, who is taking over, but we have seen tweets of the CDF saying, I'm going to crush these new people. We condemn that. This is our country. We are born in Uganda, we stay in Uganda.
I viewed some of the video clips, and I noticed something that I want the minister to take interest in. And that is, there was one of the ladies, a soldier, that was trying to pull her colleagues away from beating people. And what came in my mind, Minister, that's why I want you to take interest, is was there a single command or there could have been two commands or various? Because how can you have a group that is so happy to beat people and you have this other person who is pulling them away? That tells you there could have been a problem. Right, Honorable Speaker, one time on the floor of Parliament here, I stated that we are sending these policemen and soldiers out there. We don't know what is in their heart. Because in their training, some of the things they are sent to do, they don't like. They know that it is not professional to be sent to do what they are being asked to do. And one day, like my sister stated, if one of them gets annoyed, and that is why we also need to question whether some of them are doing it because they think they should do that, or they are doing it with the intention of actually spoiling the name of the government. You never know. Minister, you need to take interest because some of them may be not happy and they think they should do something extreme in order to spoil the name of the government. So you need to look at all this if anything positive is supposed to come.
There are procedures of arresting people. There are also procedures of arresting members of parliament. But these people who the masked people and the judge people, I do not know whether they are under the laws of the procedures of how people are supposed to be arrested. I want clarification on that. Thank you.
If you're a member of parliament and you are caught right in the act, they don't need to leave you to go and then come right to the speaker summoning you. No. Okay? From there and then they take you and then we start following up. Yes? No, I want you to know, please get me clearly. Because you're going to be a member of parliament, we can also be thieves, by the way. So you go to rob someone's home, and when they come to arrest you, you say, no, you first go to the speaker to get permission to arrest me. So there are incidences when you are taken right away. But that does not mean, yes, I'm telling you, that does not mean that I'm saying that our MPs shouldn't be arrested using the usual methods we use. I remember the Honorable Sewanyana, the Honorable Segirinya, they were sent someone through here. But where you're caught right in the act, Honorable colleagues, that won't apply.
The Minister of Internal Affairs, who has just read the statement, is one of the better schooled military officers in this land. And I'm very sure that statement was just dropped on his desk when he was rushing to come to this house. I decline to imagine that it is his statement. Somebody must have written something, he was in a hurry, and he came to read it. Otherwise, how would the General David Mohoz, that I think I know fairly, make reference to the fact that some of these victims were part of an illegal parade, and therefore their treatment seemed like an act of reprisal, revenge, and retribution, which has no space in the laws of the land. That can never be a statement from the Minister of Internal Affairs that I know. Somebody simply dropped it on his desk. Probably can explain whether the actions Kawempe were punishments in retribution, and then probably educate us on their space in the laws of the land, given some illegal military parade alluded to in the statement. Honourable Speaker. Secondly, the honourable member, I forget the name, made reference to the fact that if the EC is constrained and stretched, they can actually make request for backup. May we know from the minister whether there is such a request from the Electoral Commission? And in their request, they have formally requested for JAT to support them, not any other security agency. And explain to us the nature of stress that compelled them to make that request. 3, the people involved in the videos and on the ground are all hooded. May we understand from the minister, under what circumstances would people enforcing the laws of the land be hooded and therefore hide their identity while executing a public duty? So that we can also advise citizens on their mode of hooding themselves to counter. Right, Honourable Speaker, the point I'm making is that we are running into dangerous territory where purported law enforcement is being done by people without identity, which is why you've had between police and the army, each denying knowledge of the hooded individuals. So may we know whether there was a mutiny in one of the security forces, whether the military is experiencing a mutiny, and therefore some people are acting out of hand, that we can alert the nation that there are some hoodlums at large, and therefore capable of harming the public, because they have no identity, they have no identifiable command and control, and therefore they're like a wall on the street. Right, Honourable Speaker. Very finally, right, Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Bashisha, a very, very honourable lady, with pain, made allusion to the fact that she had that experience in her territory during the last election, and that the three people, the victims, were not even involved.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I happen to be one of the victims who were subjected to inhuman treatment on Sunday, bounded into a drone, tortured, slapped, pushed under the chairs of the drone and told not to look in front anywhere until I found myself having been dropped at Kawempe police station. This happened in the eyes of only one person whom I happen to identify, who is the DPC of Kawempe. When I reached Kawempe, I was slapped in front of the camera at the counter of police station at Kawempe. There is a camera. And I was slapped, undressed with my attire, which I was putting on, which is an overall, red, and I was told that that is an army attire. And I asked him, since when is this an attire of police or an army? Right, Honourable Speaker, everyone here can tell his or her own story. In my own constituency, which is Mukono North, I take it that I went through the worst election, and I was declared the last among all of you. Why? Somebody tried to use SFC, use the army, abducted, and it is my constituency where most of those people whom you are hearing who were abducted, where they came from. And it started like that, and this is what is happening in Kawempe. Up to now, Kanata Muhammad, Sam Pijawida, who are from my constituency, they have never been traced again. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Please. You don't do that. Honourable Kaberuka.
First of all, I want for sure to thank you for allowing this debate in this House. And I also want to extend my appreciation to the Honourable Bahati on behalf of the government, and some semblance of, appreciation of the situation from the Minister of Internal Affairs. Honourable Speaker, when you look at the social media now, you find Uganda, you cannot differentiate it from Congo, where there are M23 against the Congolese, vice versa, and the people are moving. They are being held in Changwari. What is the cause of this? Dishonesty. Mr. Speaker, the minister ought to tell this House who these people that beat Ugandans are. If he is to restore hope in Ugandans, let him tell us who they are. Or if he has no time to enlist them, let's give him time to bring a list of those people who beat Wananchi. But when we continue massaging this situation, it will escalate. Because, Mr. Speaker, everybody, you know, someone said that what is the food for the gander is the food for the goose. What's good for the gander is good for the goose. And this is not selecting opposition, it is happening to NRM as well.
Rotom Speaker, we have many questions to ask the Electoral Commission. Unfortunately, the Electoral Commission is not here. You talk about police, we talk about army, but the right party to be in charge of the situation we are talking about in Kawempe is the Electoral Commission. Therefore, Rotom Speaker, I think at an appropriate time, we should find a mechanism for ensuring that the Electoral Commission is held accountable. If they have allowed other parties to hijack their functions, let them tell us. If they do not have the mandate to make the elections, let them tell us. We allocate a lot of money to this commission every year. If it has failed to use the money properly, let the commission tell us. So, Madam Speaker, my humble request is that we need a mechanism for ensuring that we interact with the Electoral Commission to know exactly what is going on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The mandate hold elections in this country rests strictly with the Electoral Commission. Particularly so when you have a nominated candidate, that candidate becomes your official. They have the right to protect that candidate and ensure that whatever happens, happens within the law. You only request security to protect the process. All of us colleagues, we are the product of elections. You know, each one has a story. This thing has happened maybe at the time when we should review what's going to happen, how it happens. It's very true that democracy is a definition of a nation. It is a very serious program that allows each citizen to see how their leaders are elected. The same is also equally true that the leadership of a country comes about through democracy. And therefore, the constitution has to be held high. What happened in Kawempe could happen in the other parts of the country. So in my opinion, and I think the Chairman Electoral Commission addressed people, I say people because he didn't address the nation. He has to come out clearly to assure the nation whether we are ready for elections or what's going to happen. We have a friend whose child was passing just going to that direction, and she was beaten badly. And as I wind up, I want to look at the security. When I was in service, the coat of arms has to be respected at all costs. People, the goons who are beating, people who are putting on, they had our flag. There is no way, I think, in my view, we have to be very frank and look at this issue squarely and address it. Honorable Minister, the idea of thanking you that you went and consoled the patient, it should have been Electoral Commission. Because those are in charge of this product. I want to thank you again, and the colleague, let's not lose hope. I think this is the time to review of how we are going to proceed. Thank you.
That a prospective member of parliament can come from nomination and is pulled off a motorbike, thrown onto the ground. Right, Honorable Speaker. We have a history as a country. We cannot afford to see this happening in the NRM government, where we all rejoiced and thanked the president for liberating this country. Who are these officers? When I heard the police, the spokesperson for Honorable, I'm a former Felix Kulaije, speaking and saying they don't know these people. Now, how can people have guns, have sticks, beat up Ugandans, and nobody is arresting them? And they continued with this even the next day. I have raised the issue of officers covering their faces. If you are not criminals, why are you covering your faces? Why don't you want to be seen by the Ugandans? Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to request. We moved away from the governments that were not democratic. Our constitution obligates the state to ensure free participation by all Ugandans. They are free to participate in politics and elect the person that they want. If that is not the way we want to go, Can we scrap off these elections, Right Honorable Speaker? Can we go back to the movement, to no party state, and we stand on individual merit? Because the parties are now, we are getting divided around parties. If political parties are an issue, Right Honorable Speaker, we are requesting for constitution amendments. Can we have constitution amendments here before we go into elections? We are silent and yet the days are drawing closer. Can we discuss these matters?
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I appreciate the cross-partisan views of members. They actually feed into the government's desire to have a peaceful electoral process. The practical solutions we seek are fed by the processes, the roles, and the balance of rights and duties that you have talked about. So I think it's good to have this engagement, but follow up with it with a more concrete engagement between security, but also the EC, around the EC, and all the players to talk about and find solutions to these issues. Every citizen has a life that is sanctified, so I want to disagree with my colleague, Honorable Joyce. It's not just journalists, but also everyone, whether a journalist or not, should be treated fairly before the law. So I want to allay your fears. There is no bubble, but in the unlikely event that it is there, the pressure points are being pricked by this discussion, and we shall together find a solution. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members.
Now, honorable colleagues, use your platforms which you have outside this House, provided for under the Constitution, from IPOD to all other parties, to engage on these matters, so that you engage with the principles. Because what was in Kawempe is really undesirable. It's undesirable. It's totally. I don't know how someone can be provoked to track someone off a border, someone who is from being nominated. Me, in fact, I said maybe this candidate is being campaigned for. I said indirectly, you know, but it's very, very bad. It's what was there. It's very, very bad. So I urge you, please follow up on that. Next item.